All right, I've got Kev Robins, 561 Kev, making a return. Have you done any shows, Kev, since you stopped doing the podcast with us?
We had Storm Surge for a long time, but after no, I haven't done anything for a couple years. Couple years.
So Miami, Virginia Tech this weekend. We'll talk about that in a minute. Do you miss it at all? Do you miss doing the shows? Do you miss jumping on and talking?
No, so I like to get my takes off, but I don't like to be obligated to get my takes off. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't
Yeah.
want, but I do like getting takes off. I have group chats with some Miami media members and whatnot, and we talk a lot, but um, no, do I miss it? No, I don't. I wouldn't say I miss it.
A happy retirement, essentially.
Right, right. And I went out. I went out on my own terms. Nobody kicked me out.
um, so Miami this year, off to, a record-breaking start. And, and I know that people talk about the competition, but whatever, they're doing it. You're doing what they're supposed to do, against bad teams. You look at Bama, like kind of struggling with USF late and other teams that have, Georgia against Kentucky, and Kentucky's, probably better than most of,
I mean, Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
Like
you can't make the schedule this year, right? Like that was done years and years ago, but they are taking care of business. And I looked at the schedule after they beat Florida. I said, there's no excuse that they shouldn't be 6-0, and really probably more than that, but they've made it to 4, and then they really should win this week and next week against Cal, even though that West Coast trip is maybe a little bit weird. But Florida State can beat Cal. I'd be pretty surprised, I think, if Miami didn't. I guess the answer is Cam Ward, but is there something other than Cam Ward that has impressed you the most about this team?
Well, so this is when Mario came in, right? This was his vision, right? Stack recruiting classes, stack high ranked recruiting classes back to back that can play later on. So now you're seeing that. Now you're seeing the offensive line that he recruited, starting with Francis Malioga and these guys, right? So Cam Ward obviously erases a lot of your problems. But when you're playing behind a line full of juniors, redshirt sophomores and juniors that have been recruited, been in the program, so Cam Ward is sitting back there, he's not getting touched, right? And then you look at their defensive line, where they bring in Tyler Barron from Tennessee, and then along with guys that were already here, Keem Messidor. So they've built it right in the trenches, by recruiting at a high level, something that Mario Cristobal is obviously known for, right? And then bringing in transfers to complement what he's already got.
It does feel like, I saw somebody say the other day that Cam Ward looks like he's bored at times because they're that much better. But I do like his I like it, like how nonchalant he was. Like we were both in the swamp. Some of those runs out of bounds, he was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna leisurely stroll over here. It was, I don't know if that's, I know there's a new setting on the video game because people do it to me all the time where people can just walk into the end zone and it pisses me off all the time. But that's what it looked like.
He looks like he's playing in slow motion.
Yeah.
Like when he's making decisions, like, so the big knock on Cam Ward coming in was turnover prone, trusts his arm too much. But right now, it just looks like the game slowed down for him. I mean, he's got 48 starts. He's seen every defense. He's just so damn smooth. I don't know if there's a smoother player in college football right now.
Yeah. He looks incredibly relaxed. He looks incredibly just like poised.
He looks like he knows exactly what's going to happen on every single play.
And then sometimes he's telling the other team what's going to happen. That is, boy, I don't, this, but I don't like Miami. But I was just like, all right, I like that. That's pretty incredible.
He's a likable player, and he embodies what Miami wants to do. Like last week he went 24 for 34, 400 yards. And when they talked to him at the interview, he talked about like the 3 throws that he missed.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly what you want from your quarterback.
So Virginia Tech loses to Vandy early in the year. Maybe Vandy's a little bit better, playing well with Missouri, but I still feel like that's one that you it is still Vanderbilt. And then loses to Rutgers too. Rutgers kind of a middle of the pack Big Ten team. So, maybe not as exciting of a matchup as you would have hoped. As an outsider, maybe Miami fans are thrilled that VT is not as good, but maybe not as exciting of a matchup on a Friday night as you would have hoped. But is there anything, without just like completely dismissing them, is there anything that they do that kind of worries you, or maybe on the Friday night being a little bit weird? Or is it just kind of like, man, just show up and finish and move on to the B5-0?
So Mario Cristobal, Alex Mirabal, they teach. It's not the opponent win the week, right? So win the week. But Virginia Tech, it would be crazy to just dismiss them as nothing. I think they lead the nation in sacks. Maybe
Yeah.
they have the kid Antoine Powell that transferred from Florida. I think he's got 6 sacks. Um, they got the quarterback. What's his name? Kyron
Aaron
Jones.
Jones. Yeah.
Yeah, he's shaky at times, but he wants to run the ball, right? So when you get a weird athletic quarterback, sometimes that can give you problems. But no, if Miami takes care of business, I think the line's 19 and a half. Is that what you got it at? I think it
Yeah.
started at 17 and it just keeps climbing. Um, Virginia Tech, I saw a stat where they're scoring like 8 points in the first half. And Miami's scoring, Miami's going to get out ahead. So you want Kyron Jones to have to play from behind with a Miami defensive line that's going to get to the quarterback. Like, yes, if Miami takes care of business, and it could be a little bit rainy with the storms, but if Miami plays how Miami should play, I mean, I think they should, pretty much run away with it.
Yeah. I think it would, when I think about like the path to a victory, Miami just takes care of business and plays like an average game. They should be pretty good. It would take Drones kind of having a special game, Miami not being able to stop his legs, and then I think Miami's offense playing pretty poorly. Like I think Cam would need to have like a 3 or 4 turnover day for Virginia Tech to find a way to win. Like that. It would take a lot. It'd be kind of weird.
Is Beamer ball still a thing, or did that like die with Beamer?
I don't know. I think that's. I mean, I guess they blocked a punt against us in 2021, but I mean, even that, like that's been 4 years now. Like how relevant is that? I mean, they'll play hard. They'll get. I mean, that's the big thing is they're probably the most. Well, Florida's got more talent, but they're such a dumpster fire. But yeah, I mean, they're probably the most talented team since Florida. But I mean, I don't really know what that's good for, right? Like they'll get up because it's Miami, but I just can't imagine them. I mean, I can't
think
imagine
they
them
know.
going there.
Like I think they know, right? Like they know.
Yeah, I mean, you make it a really good first quarter. Like maybe it's 10-7 after the first quarter or something, and then just floodgates open.
So this could be the game, right? So if Miami fans are being nitpicky, they pick on the fans that just want to be like, oh,
we're not any good.
We're not any good. It's been 20 years. We're not any good. When they want to talk about they talk about the running game, right? Like, can they get the running game going? Yes, they can pass. Yes, Cam Ward's amazing, but can they get the running game going? So I think this is a good opportunity for Miami to get the running game going. I think Virginia Tech is terrible against the run. Like, can they get the running game going? If it's a rainy night, right? Can they get the running game going?
So moving on past Virginia Tech and just talking kind of big picture, Virginia Tech, I think Miami wins that. Cal, I think they win that. The stretch of 4 games, and I really think there's like 2.5 tough games within 4, and then it gets pretty easy and pretty light on the back end too. But at Louisville, and then I think it's Florida State. Duke, I don't think is too big of a deal. And then
the Manny
at
revenge
Georgia
game.
Tech.
Manny revenge game.
I don't know, man. Maybe with a different roster. Maybe if he'd have gone to Texas. At Louisville, I mean, maybe that's a little tricky. Obviously, Florida State's the rivalry, but I don't think they have. I mean, they would need to figure things out before I could even think that game is competitive. And then at Georgia Tech, I mean, they've shown a propensity to be offensive this year and score some points. So, it really does feel like, and obviously you could slip up at any point, but it feels like if Miami can get through that stretch 4-0, they are going 12-0 and probably going to face Clemson in the ACC championship. Like, I mean, I know there's a lot of confidence in South Florida right now, but what's the biggest landmine to you?
So it's at Louisville, right? And we'll find out more about Louisville this week. They play Notre Dame this week.
Yeah.
So we'll find out more about Louisville this week. But it's at Louisville, right? So Louisville comes down last year and they beat Miami. They got some South Florida kids. They got some coaches on the staff that are familiar with some Miami guys. I think it's at Louisville. So when you were looking at the schedule before the year, right? It's Florida State at home, October 26th, and it's at Louisville. It's that stretch. This is the exact stretch you're talking about. Um, I think if they get past at Louisville, then yeah, then they're on a they're headed to Charlotte to play Clemson probably. And Clemson, I mean, ever since that first week where they get blitzed by Georgia in the second half, they look like the part too.
Yeah.
Like what the hell happened there? I didn't see that coming. I didn't even see that coming.
Yeah, I thought they were going to have another 8-4 season after that UGA game. Like I
Yeah,
thought,
me too. It just didn't look right.
yeah, they maybe they just needed that. Maybe that just kind of, get hit in the mouth, you respond. But yeah, and that's where, I mean, I think that's where Miami's in such a great position that it is if you beat Louisville, I don't really expect it, but you could slip up to a Florida State or add a Georgia Tech or lose another game. And certainly Miami fans don't want to lose a game, but I mean, 11-1 is still going to get them into Charlotte. I mean, there's no question. You're going to play, you lose to Florida State. Well, they have 2 ACC losses. You lose to Georgia Tech. They have 2 ACC. Like it just, I mean, and I'd be pretty surprised if Miami was to lose any of those games. I feel like I'd be on the floor shocked if Miami was to lose 2 games outside of some kind of like catastrophic injury bug or something like that.
Right.
Like,
If Cam Ward goes down, then that's probably that. I mean, I think they're good enough that they can win a lot of their games. I think just like in the Jordan Travis thing, like I think they're good enough that they could
yeah,
beat a Boston College or a Florida, if they had to with the backup quarterback. But no, you're not going to beat Clemson with them.
right.
And
You're
when
not
you
going
get
to
in the
Charlotte.
playoff, and when you get in the
Right.
playoffs, like, do
Yeah.
you think there's any scenario where the ACC gets 2 teams into the playoff? Like, say Miami runs the table and loses a close game to Clemson and Charlotte.
Yeah, I do think so. I know I know that like last year we were all down on the ACC and their chances. And, we even said because of what happened to Florida State, we even said like, they'll never put a second, but I actually do think they will because Miami's like I think people want, I mean, certainly not the people that I'm around, but like people in like the national media, like they want Miami to be good. They want Texas to be good. They want USC to be back. Like they like all of that stuff is good. And Miami is an attractive brand. Like aside from all the jokes and all the trolls, like if Miami goes 12-1 with a loss to Clemson and Clemson is or has just the Georgia loss, or I mean, honestly, even if Clemson was 10-2, they get the auto bid. I think Miami's in it 12-1. I think Miami could lose. I think Miami would have a shot even at like 11-2. Like if they stub their toe they lose at Louisville and then they lose to Clemson. I don't think Miami's out even then because I do think people want to see Miami in. I think they want to see Cam Ward in the playoff. I think that kind of stuff matters. And so, Miami would probably get a road game there just because of how that works. Like they wouldn't be the home team because they'd be like the 10 seed or something. But to me, like I still kind of think they would be in because of how dominant they've looked. Now they got to continue to look dominant and they can't get blown out by Clemson or something. But I think 12-1, they're definitely in. And I think 11-2, they even have a chance.
I just don't think this team. I just don't think this team gets blown out by it just because they're so good in the trenches, man. And like their wide receivers get separation, and of course when they see better DBs and Cam Ward's under a little bit more pressure, maybe they won't create as much separation. But they got a day one tight end in Arroyo.
Yeah.
They got like 5 backs that are going to start for most teams in the ACC. Like he's really built this thing to have depth and like high level talent. Like Josh Pate, everybody's favorite, right? He says that Miami is a high level SEC team in the ACC
Yeah.
right now. I mean, it's just how they're built. I mean, they built it from the inside out, and now they're getting like the fruits of their labor. And it won't stop now, right? Because Mario Cristobal can already recruit. So what if he has an 11 win, a playoff ACC championship in his pocket to take into the living room, right?
Yeah.
Then they're going to take another step in recruiting. And
Yeah.
this was his vision all along.
The top 5 classes start turning it into like top 3, top 2 type stuff. I mean, you're just in that air. Like, I mean, there's only one place to go from there.
Right. So you're with Georgia, right? Where you get 1 or 2 5 stars to you get 4 or 5 5 stars. You get a 5 star at every level,
Yeah.
and,
And I
and that's
think
just
and and what you said earlier, like, yeah, they're good. Like, Cam could go down right now, and like, knock on wood, hope it doesn't happen. But Cam could go down right now, and I'd still say they're probably going 11-1. Like we're
right. The
like,
only thing that's weird is okay. So they play at home on Friday, but they don't have another home game until Florida State comes to town.
yeah,
So Miami's on the road for the next month. I think they had 3 games in a bye, but it's just a long time to be away from the
yeah, and
home.
one of those being a West Coast trip. But again, at least it's
Fucking ten
Cal.
thirty. Get Cal out of my conference.
That's what we were saying.
10:30.
It's just
Goodness
terrible.
gracious. We're gonna play Hawaii next.
Yeah. Kev, I appreciate you for hanging out, man. We'll have to do it
Yeah.
again. But where can people follow you? Where can they get your takes that you do get off?
So I'm really just on Twitter. I'm at 561 Kev underscore Kev. At 561 underscore Kev on Twitter.
Awesome, man. We'll have fun this weekend. You going to the game?
Yeah, of course. Of course. We don't miss a game. That's one thing about me, TJ. I haven't missed a home game in like 6 years. So I get
Dude.
to watch us not take a knee against Virginia Tech. I get to watch us get blown out at Middle Tennessee State. If you think I'm not going to go watch Cam Ward, then you're on something else. I've earned this.
That's awesome. All right, man. Well, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for hopping on.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
See you, buddy.